Practice makes perfect. Experience is the best teacher. And social scientists tell us it takes 10,000 hours of doing something in order to become an expert. The good news on this Christmas morning is that from the very beginning of creation, the moment that story in Genesis so long ago where God created humanity, created us lovingly in God's image and likeness. From that moment, theologians from the earliest days of the Christian church tell us that it was always God's desire, always God's longing to know us better, to know God's creation more intimately. From the beginning of time, it was always God's intent at the right time, in the fullness of time, to become one of us in order to know us more intimately, in order to know us better, and in order to know more fully, if we can say that God needs to learn anything, to know more fully what it is to be human. Because no matter what we create, until we actually become, we don't know fully our creation. I expect the same may hold true for God. God in God's omniscience and omnipotence wants to know us even more intimately, and so becomes one of us. In the person of Jesus of Nazareth, God the Son, who becomes human and whose birth we celebrate this morning. Now, it also turns out that God became one of us for our salvation, for Jesus to take on upon his human self the sinfulness of a fallen humanity. But I am in agreement and accord with the earliest theologians of the church who said that wasn't God's first purpose for the incarnation. The first purpose was to get to know us better. God becomes one of us. Jesus experienced the fullness of humanity. Practice making perfect. Experience becoming the best teacher. And putting in well more than 10,000 hours of our sad, sorry lives in order to become an expert at being a human. And taking all of that experience back to the throne of heaven after his crucifixion and burial and resurrection and ascension. There is nothing that any of us go through, no joys, no triumphs, no sorrows, no tragedies, that God does not understand more fully, because Jesus underwent joys and triumphs and sorrows and tragedies. God becomes one of us to redeem and to welcome humanity ever closer into God's heart. And God gives us the opportunity to return that blessing to God. God becomes one of us to know us better, God becomes one of us so that through Jesus we can come to know God better. God makes the first move, and holds out his hands in the person of Jesus, and invites us ever more closely into the mind and into the heart of God. Merry Christmas.